A lot of times when individuals have a concussion, they don't recognize that they've had a concussion. No pain, no gain is not a thing here. You know, you're talking about your brain.
There's a fine line, you know, soccer is a gray area, right? So it's not black and white with fouls. Some refs might think it's a foul, some not.
Over the years, new protocols and rules have been put in place to protect the health of athletes in sports. However, many argue that there's still work that needs to be done to protect these athletes.
I think with the older kids, like, you have the luxury of like more staff, right? Especially like you go to a high school game, there has to be an athletic trainer like all the time. In the home games especially, like the access to a trainer. Here you're not going to have that as much. So I think with the younger ones, it's a little bit more about, you know, what can I do as a coach? Whereas with the older ones, I just need to make sure I get the right person to come help out. The no heading rule is funny because they implemented that I think a couple of years ago, or a few years ago. And I'll be very honest, it had zero impact on me. Like with an 11-year-old, I'm not working on heading the ball. You know, I'm working on decision-making, technical stuff. And they're usually scared about hitting the ball anyway. Like, I don't think it really mattered as much. As far as the safety, I do think certain rules do need to change. For example, why do we need to have a corner kick if they can't hit the ball anyway, right? You have about, you know, we play 9v9 at this age, right? So you have maybe 16 players in the box, balls being kicked in the air, but none of them can head it. It kind of defeats the purpose. If you look at FIFA Plus 11, I don't know if you heard of it before, it's a highly recommended like warm-up for, you know, players, right, of any level. And a lot of professional teams follow it as well. There's a lot of studies of like how much it reduces injury. A lot of people don't know this, but there's actually FIFA 11 Plus for kids. It's specifically for kids. It's shorter, because, you know, they also have a shorter attention span. But one of the biggest differences you'll see, and you could actually like look this up later on, the biggest difference is with the kids, they actually have them do like a rollover on the ground, right? Because as a kid, you want them to learn how to fall. And that's a very important skill actually. A lot of the injuries for concussions is actually players that don't expect the ball to come to their head, right? Like they're running and a ball like it gets shot in their head, or they don't know how to head the ball. I think if you teach them the right technique, it can help them, even though they're not supposed to head the ball, if they have to, maybe as a reflex, the technique is right, and that actually could help them prevent maybe concussions just a little bit more. Maybe not a lot, but maybe just a little bit, because they know how to hit the ball.
Larry Collins is a PA who specializes in head injuries and concussions.
You know, prevention is difficult because things happen. Now, certainly in sports, teaching athletes proper technique and, you know, like in football, not hitting with your head, those type of things. In soccer, maybe trying to limit how much an athlete does headers and things, you know, can maybe possibly prevent some injuries, but injuries are going to still occur. As a PA, I'm very happy about the improvements that have been made in the recognition of concussions. I think in our community settings, sometimes there's still work to be done. In the NFL, you know, we have a spotting process in place, and that's really high tech, but they have lots of money to spend on it. But for the general person, you know, again, the biggest thing is, you know, recognition.
I've been the head football coach here at Leonard. I just finished my 5th season. There's a misconception. Football is not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. Every play there is 11 human beings hitting 11 other human beings, and that wages a toll on their heads especially. We're limited to the amount of minutes a week we can have contact, you know, and that doesn't include the games. We do a lot of non-contact drills to still teach the proper techniques. But the biggest change in what we're doing is the way we tackle. It used to be go hit the kid as hard as you can and get him on the ground. Well, over the past few years, especially in Hillsborough County, we've incorporated some programs that as coaches we have to attend, and it's really changed the way we tackle. I do think we're in a very good place now compared to where we were 20 years ago. You know, we've learned that these head injuries have lasting effects, and I think we can frame it however we want, but the ultimate protocol is to just pay attention.
Although medical specialists and coaches are optimistic about the rules that have been put in place, they all can agree that there is still work that needs to be done. In Tampa, for the USF Newsroom, I'm Julio Martinez.